multiple women. There were multiple victims. Now one of them may be a minor, and still we're getting like segments on CNN where they're like, as of this month, it was a couple weeks ago, they did like a piece on Destiny being like, oh, now to talk to the liberal who is trying to de-radicalize the right. And it's just like, did y'all not have anyone on the CNN team who knows how to use Google?
Now, this latest controversy appears to start when you have Hasan Piker making a remark that many believe targeted Hila Klein.
Any kind of violence that Israeli settlers or the Israeli military experiences in the West Bank is literally legal, okay? It is legal resistance against an occupying military force. I cannot repeat this enough. Israel is actually engaging in an apartheid, which is a crime in and of itself. Israel's doing a genocide in Gaza and an apartheid in the West Bank, 2 crimes in and of itself. And every type of armed resistance against both the settlers and also the Israeli occupying force in the West Bank. Doesn't matter if it's your favorite podcasters like Wife that participate in these raids. The violence that the Palestinians engage in an act of resistance against this illegal occupying force is literally legal.
Right, so it appears that he's talking in general about current ongoing violence there, but the call out to your favorite podcaster's wife has gotten a lot of attention because Hila previously served in the IDF. And this also has a little extra background here. Hasan and Ethan and Hila have been very publicly at odds over their clashing views with Israel and Gaza, as well as just, a number of other things. But in the here and now, you had Hila seeing Hasan's latest remark and accusing him of calling for violence against her specifically, with Ethan then later echoing that, posting a video yesterday saying,
"Why even include a specific person who hasn't served in the military in 20 years?"
So someone in the Serfs Discord sent me this, and it was pretty mind-blowing because it turns out that Ethan Klein actually has the same position.
Settlers in the West Bank are religious zealots, they're monsters, they're genocidal. I've even said the West Bank settlers are valid military targets. When you talk about like colonial settlers and stuff, like that's what's actually happening in the West Bank right now. And these people are more or less valid military targets, in my opinion.
But it's not rocket science.
Let's get back to the IDF. You said...
That's what Hasan said. He's saying that again, if you were a member of the IDF, if you were part of doing illegal raids on homes in Ramallah, then you are a valid military target. The same thing that Ethan Klein in the past had agreed on.
Why does he mix up past and present tense while he's discussing this? You know, is this a responsible use of his words and his platform? Don't you think that even if what you're saying is true and you meant only people on that raid would deserve violence, that invoking a specific person is really appropriate and true? And doesn't that have the risk for provoking the craziest people in your audience to think that maybe it would be a good idea to kill my wife?
With that, then getting a lot of attention online, and even had the likes of Destiny discussing Hasan's comment in a chat, writing, "I honestly think you could perfectly justify attacking/killing Hasan IRL for statement."
You realize that this is like present tense, right? Like Hila no longer lives in Israel. She no longer serves in the IDF. He was not saying you should actively now seek revenge on her. He never said any of that. Whereas this is, I honestly think you could perfectly justify attacking and killing Hasan in real life for statements like this.
Like this. With many then saying that escalated the situation to a whole new level, and you had a number of people calling out Destiny for seemingly condoning violence. With Hasan then also posting, this sociopathic cult leader is actively telling his audience that it's moral to kill me in real life because I said Palestinians have a legal right to resist against an illegal occupying force conducting a raid. When anyone joins an occupying force and participates in a raid in a legally occupied territory, the occupied people have a legal right to defend themselves through armed struggle. With them then also addressing the Destiny situation on a stream on Sunday.
That's definitely actionable, I'm pretty sure. It's also weird that this guy gets to have a YouTube account. Like, that is a real death threat. What I'm saying is not a death threat at all. What I'm saying is just what the law is right now.
And so you had Hasan arguing that he wasn't even trying to give an opinion, he was just discussing international law and acts of resistance. With Hasan then also claiming that many people were taking his initial remark out of context and that he by no means was trying to condone or encourage violence against Hila Klein.
There is no point where I have said violence against someone who is not actively in combat is permissible. I don't believe that. That is illegal. This is not you know, and also immoral. It's a big part of the reason why I also advocate against what Israel is doing. I have also specified that IDF veterans are not valid military targets. If someone were to attack Hila Klein right now, of course they should go to jail. What kind of idiocy is this?
So there you...
I don't know if he's being clear enough, to be honest. There's a lot of ways to interpret what he just said. I think he has to make another statement. I think he needs to clarify the clarification. Because honestly, I mean, did he actually, you know, really explain himself?
Even had some who said, hey, I don't think that you were calling for violence against Hila, saying that it's at the very least very weird that you would bring up your former podcast partner's wife, right, in the context of what's happening in the here and now. Also, something you saw is that when people asked him, why are you addressing this? You know, asking him, why are you feeding into people dragging you into drama? He said,
so it has led to people issuing active death threats to their communities against me. So I think it's a little bit different than just like immature online gossip slop. At what point does it turn into like a real crime? I think this is the point where it has turned into a real crime. But will you consider it to be something beyond online gossip slop when I either get deplatformed or when I get killed? Potentially.
With Hasan saying it's the goal of the people going after him to get him banned and fully deplatformed. And in terms of...
Well, also, it's this constant thing where, like, I know this is just how Philip DeFranco does his shows, right? But, like, to try and equivocate all these things, again, as just morally neutral, as in, like, all right, so we have two cases here of pretty much the exact same thing, or at least similar situations, right? Hasan made a statement that for people serving in a occupying military, one that is currently engaged in doing a genocide, if you were to be a participant in that military, then you would be a valid military target. For him to say that, it is in some ways being interpreted by some people to be potentially a death threat to someone who once served in that military years ago, no longer lives in Israel, and happens to be married to one of his ex-podcast hosts. In the case of Destiny, he's saying in the present tense now that this is justification for someone going and attacking Hasan. So again, these two situations are incredibly similar. We now have a clip of Hasan. He's going to have to clarify himself. He does so, like, could not be more blatant when he's just like, I'm not calling for anyone to do violence against Hila Klein. I'm not calling for anyone to do violence against ex-military members. I'm not calling for anyone that would not only be illegal, but that is not what I advocate for, blah, blah, blah. But then again, we're stuck back in this kind of like, okay, so these are kind of, you know, similar situations.
Platforms and deplatforming. In the video that Ethan ended up posting on Monday, he took aim at what content Twitch platforms in general, arguing that the site allows too many calls for political violence, including from Hasan. And then with that, suggesting that since neither Twitch or Amazon are doing anything, the sponsors who advertise there should.
If you use Twitch, if you're watching, when you get an ad, write them and say, hey, I would like to know why you are spending directly your dollars to support violent extremism. Why are you supporting a platform that sanctions, protects, safeguards, encourage, promotes language like what Hasan just deployed against Hila?
But ultimately, that's where we are right now.
But ultimately, it was the same language that, again, Ethan Klein was using in those clips that I just showed you, where he's saying that he believes the IDF, who are involved in illegal occupation, to be valid military targets.
Now, and in the meantime, I'd really love to know your thoughts on this whole situation. One, just in general, no matter who you are, but also two, I know there's at least some crossover of who's watching my show and who's watching these other three. So there's people that are more...
Okay, so that was that description. The other news was that for Destiny, aka Stephen Bonnell II, he's obviously at this point been accused by multiple women of having recorded them without their consent and distributed those recordings to third parties. Again, he is being sued by one individual. Another woman has filed a police report on him at this point. It's behavior that, you know, is obviously, if true, incredibly not only fucked up, but illegal. To say the very least. Now, for a long time, there's been speculation as to is one of the individuals that Destiny was both talking to and who has like a lot of logs leaked of their conversations. Those logs are very, very sexual in nature. Most of them are pretty disgusting, and I'm obviously not going to be reading them out because I'm sure a lot of them are in violation of the terms of service here. Is that individual, in fact, underage? And the wild thing about the story is that a lot of the people who used to either be friends with Destiny or used to do streams with Destiny or used to be what you could consider Destiny orbiters, etc., are some of now the people who've been coming forward being like, a lot of what Destiny did in the past is absolutely fucked. It's reprehensible. I don't stand behind it. And one of the biggest problems I think he's going to have going forward is if information comes out that this one individual who went by the username Rose turns out to have been 17 at the time when Destiny was both sexting her as well as potentially sending her, again, this unconsensual sexual material. Another interesting thing about all this is that of all the people who are involved in this and accusing Destiny of a variety of sex crimes and other horrifying behavior, the one person he doesn't seem to be talking about in anything, where he is publicly attacking Pixie, he's publicly attacking Cherry, he's publicly attacking a lot of the women, including his ex-wife, who had come forward to say that he had unconsensually shared material of them with third parties. He doesn't mention Rose and doesn't bring up Rose. Now, there was a clip that came out a while ago where, again, people were watching other streamers talk about this.
What's up? There are clips on Reddit. This is according to J.A. Stalk.
So Jay Stalk is one of the people who, again, used to be friends with Destiny and is now, is a drama YouTuber who's making a lot of content about how fucked up Destiny is. And he's one of the person who's come forward multiple times to say that he believes this individual, Rose, happened to have been 17 at the time.
He said it about people in my Discord leaking logs about him or something, right? He made things up entirely, but he said basically like, oh, all these girls are like just out to get me, so I've started deleting messages. There's no reason to allow it. It's like, bro, that's evidence. You don't understand that's evidence? The people obsessed with Rose above everything else, it's a creepy KF conspiracy. No, it's not. I literally have DMs from Destiny saying I can beat all of this, I can sweep it all away, but if she's under 18, I'm fucked. What do you mean it's a creepy KF conspiracy? I have personal DMs with Destiny to this effect.
So Destiny may have been sending sexually explicit material to underage girls. That would be grooming, and that would be sexual solicitation of a minor. What's the age of consent in Florida? 18. So that would be sexual solicitation. That would be criminal.
Now, there's a number of accounts and YouTubers who come forward to say that they now have evidence that the individual in question, Rose, is 17. There's a massive thread on the DGG snark page that has confirmation that Rose is in fact 17, including news articles and that corroborate that evidence. I'm not going to put the information on screen because I'm just worried if any of it doxes her. But it's in that you can find on the DGG snark page, as well as being shared in the leftovers Reddit subreddit, where they're basically posting all of the information that is now confirming that Rose is 17 years old. This is something that Bad Empanada has been battling Destiny with, so this was something recently that happened. Bad Empanada was like, the streamer Destiny, real name Stephen Kenneth Bernal II, is a confirmed pedophile. Here's a thread on it, and then Destiny was like, he attacks me just so he can maintain plausible deniability while he goes after Hasan, but I respect you, my Australian warlord. And then he says, bro, you literally say in the clip that she's 15. What the fuck? Have you seen 15-year-olds they're putting out today, though? I'm assuming a lot of Destiny fans, as far as like this keeps getting worse and worse, like there are a number of clips of Destiny admitting that he's attracted to 15-year-olds and, stating that out loud, for example. There's always the defense that like he's either joking or this whole thing is made up, all that kind of stuff. Well, in the case of was he sending both, sexually explicit material to an individual who turned out to have been 17? Was he sexting an individual who turned out to be 17? In those messages, was he requesting that he could actually have meetups and encounters with someone who was 17, which, if the leaked logs are 100% confirmed, those are crimes. Like this goes far beyond, these are now just memes. This guy is just memeing. Oh, he's just joking that he's attracted to 15-year-olds. And technically, you know what that means? Is he is not a pedophile. All right, I'll have you know, he's an ephebophile. There's a big difference, okay? You just look up the whole comedy bit on it. It explains it very clearly. Massive difference between being, someone who's into 15-year-olds and someone who's into children. Come on, big difference here. But even then, he's memeing. He's just, these are all memes. These are memes when he claims that he was attracted to a 15-year-old. This is a meme now when he's talking about how attractive 15-year-olds are. But in the case of him actually sending sexually explicit material to someone who was underage, I mean, once again, that is a crime. Much like the other things that he's accused of, these are crimes. Like, recording women having sexual encounters with you without their knowledge, that's a crime. Distributing that sexual material to a third party without the consent of those women is a crime. These are sex crimes. Like, this isn't just a fucking meme or a bunch of jokes on the internet. This is an individual who seems to be actively engaged in committing multiple sex crimes with multiple women. There are multiple victims. Now, one of them may be a minor, and still we're getting like segments on CNN where they're like, as of this month, it was a couple weeks ago, they did like a piece on Destiny being like, oh, now to talk to the liberal who is trying to de-radicalize the right. And it's just like, did y'all not have anyone on the CNN team who knows how to use Google, who could have done a simple search on this and realized that this actually may be highly problematic for a person who's currently undergoing a lawsuit for, again, unconsensually sharing sexual material, who's maybe the center of a criminal investigation, depending on where that police report that was filed goes, who, again, was recording a woman allegedly without their consent and then distributing that to a third party. Did you know now that that third party that may have been receiving that sexual material may have been a minor? And that was someone who Destiny was actively sexting at the time, which again would put him into the Dr. Disrespect category of just like, Jesus fuck, this is a fucked up and a disgusting individual. I don't think that there's any reason why you should be trying to associate him or rebrand him or brand him as some kind of like weapon for the Democratic Party or the liberals who's actively, he's like the Charlie Kirk or the Steven Crowder of the libs. He goes to college campuses, he debates people, he has a change my mind signed, he's debating some of these Nazis, but he's also inviting Nequentes over to his house to you know, have food and then hang out with his now ex-wife, and they actually have an entire segment where they were just buddying around, but then he did debate him, and so he debated him, and so clearly he's not on board with this whole neo-Nazi stuff, and it is now coming out and being revealed that his own son actually is an online groiper and a neo-Nazi, which is also profoundly fucked up, because when you think about it, like, how good is the de-radicalization project working out for the thousands of people who watch Destiny, these thousands of young men who are supposed to essentially be getting de-radicalized through his process into libs, into Democratic supporters and stuff like that, pulling them away from the far right, when your own fucking son is coming out with statements about how you were completely absent during his life. He feels ostracized from multiple communities online. He doesn't feel like he can join, say, Hasan's community. He can't join your own community for some reason. And so now he's found like the only place that he's really found the lane happens to be the groypers and the Nazis and the alt-right. Well, that bodes really bad for all of these people who follow Destiny and who are supposed to be actively getting de-radicalized if your own son turned into a Nazi. So what happens to the thousands of fucking young teenage boys who consider you their hero, who have a parasocial relationship with you, who now are supposed to be getting de-radicalized when that is the end result for someone who's supposed to be one of the closest members of your family? Like, this is all, again, supremely fucked up. Destiny responded with this. I mean, if Destiny broke off all his relationships and only dated Rose, he'd still get super fucked, lol. Read the Rose was 17 stuff in the DGG sub. Shit is R word. He mentioned that he was 19 in the DMs, but she was selling stuff in DMs, even more R words. Since using braces is mentioned as evidence, he's using this because he needed it too. If he isn't underage, omega lol. Destiny responds with, if Rose was 17, nobody in DGG would even care anyway. Lol. Omega lol. It's so funny.
On Discord while she fucked guys, and she would send me the videos sometimes after, and her boyfriend equals that guy 100%.
So the other part of the story is that one of the people who was initially trying to warn people that Rose was underage happened to be someone who was in a relationship with Rose. And again, this is one of Destiny's old friends who's now coming forward with this kind of information on his show.
So I did reach out. I talked to him through it. Why didn't he talk to me? Why didn't he say like, hey, this fucked up? There might have been one comment about like, this is pretty bad. I think it was like, this is pretty bad, but I can sweep through this and meme through it. But, oh, that's what it was. It was like, I think he said something like, this is pretty bad, but I can like sweep and meme through it unless she's a minor. If she's, oh, also, yeah, he doesn't know if she's a minor or not, by the way. Just so you know. This guy's such an asshole. This guy's such a fucking loser. God. Anyway. Hi, Kelly. Sorry, if I'm in the middle of a point and you start talking, then I'm probably going to try to finish my point. Okay.
Well, I don't know what you said now because you fucking deafened.
I said that I warned him about those leaks. He didn't feel the need to warn Pixie or Melina or
So this is definitely the most fucked up part of the story, and this is going to be, I think, the one going forward that you know, if Destiny continues to ignore it, that'll make it worse. I don't know if there's going to be a criminal investigation launched in the first place. I don't know if this is of any kind of a concern to, say, like YouTube, when you have one of your larger streamers who still has that audience of what, like 6,000 people who watch you live every single day. If it doesn't turn out to be true that he had been sexting a minor for a very prolonged period of time, or even a short period of time, or at all, I should add, and was also sending sexually explicit material to that minor. Sexually explicit material, I might add, that was non-consensual. So there's just like, there are sex crimes within sex crimes, like piling up here, to the point where like it's now just like, it's completely indefensible. I still am getting people who I assume are like Destiny fans responding whenever I either do a show or talk about this, or I try to make a post about this, like, you know, just so everyone is aware. Stephen Bonnell II is now accused of having sexted a minor, as well as sending, again, unconsensual sexual material to a minor. That's really fucked up. Like, take all of your, like, oh, but I hate you, Serfs, you're a soy boy, fucking beta cuck, you're the worst debater on the internet, all that. Sure, like, who gives a fuck about any of that? Don't, like, take yourself out of the whole I hate streamer Y or streamer X. There were people who were replying, like, well, what about Hasan? This isn't about Hasan. Could you turn that part of your brain off for 2 seconds and recognize this is fucked? This is, like, as a fundamental principle, you should be against this across the board. And if you're not, then boy, has something wrong happened along the way. Like this should be rising to, but like, I know there's a limited amount of massive streamers in politics, right? There's like, on the left, there's Hasan. On the center right, there's Destiny. On the center right, there's Ethan Klein. And on the far right, there's Asmongold. And then, you know, I guess in the farm or whatever, there's Vosh or other people like that. But like, there's not a lot of huge ass massive streamers with, you know, huge ass platforms. And you're just trying to find which one you want to gravitate towards. And then in this case, well, I formed a bit of a parasocial relationship. I enjoy his debates. I enjoy his content. I love his edginess. I can enjoy all the slurs. It's so much fun. But he's a lib. He's a lib who uses the same slurs as the right. It's so great. And he defends using the N-word in private. And he defends how, like, you know, incest is actually morally neutral and things like that. It's so much fun to be a part of that community. And it's like, if the person you've been following, I understand that this may be a difficult time and it may be a difficult moment when you're realizing that all of this is not only profoundly fucked up, grooming, allegedly, you know, pedophilia, just allegedly, not to mention criminal behavior. We're talking sex crimes upon sex crimes between the filming of women without their consent, the distribution of that content with third parties without those women's consent, and the potential sharing of that material with a minor. This is extremely fucked up. Like, if there was any time for you to now take a moment of reflection and be like, you know what? I'm going to find someone else to give me my memes, to give me my coverage, to like, if you got to find yourself a debater who is also on the left, please go watch Sam Cedar. Sam Cedar debates. He debates very well. So does Mehdi Hasan. He debates very well. Those are two very, very good debaters. They are on the left. You don't have to keep following a potential groomer, predator, sex criminal.
Thank you so much for watching, everyone. This video wouldn't be at all possible without the financial support of all the people whose names you see on the screen right now. And if you want to unlock secret bonus episodes, content that we can't post anywhere else, or get the videos early before anyone else gets to see them, please go on to patreon.com/theserfs. For as little as $1, you can help support this channel and help make more videos like this possible. Our executive producers are Anna Loves Riley, Adrian McCarthy, Bobby Lasers, Cheryl Alvarez, Comrade Junkie, Doug Caddy, Everything Important, Garrett Sandoval, Hagbard Celine, Jimmy Sombrero, Multimondi, Omni, Political Papi, Preston Kroll, Quiet 185, Richard Boehm, Riley and Anna, Roller Dragon, Cernicus, Stellar Gwyn, Sebastian Demel, Tigwick, Trav, and Words Greenwood. And also, it wouldn't be possible without all the names you see on the screen right now. Again, if you want to help produce this content, it's only made possible through the funding of our patrons. Head on down to patreon.com/theserfs. That's patreon.com